Good morning, it's Brian. You are on the Art of Startup War. The only reason we do this podcast is to make sure that awesome investors who are looking to make really good returns get to see the startup companies that we get to see. And as most folks who listen to this podcast know, Expert Dojo are one of the most prolific investors in the United States and maybe even globally these days in early stage startups. We find what we believe to be the greatest entrepreneurs in the world building the most incredible businesses, and we work really closely with those companies to help them scale to Series A as quickly as we can. What happens then? Then other investors come in, they put a pile of money in, they grow to Series B. Suddenly you've got a company that's going from 10 million-ish valuations through to 100 million, 200 million, and all the way. Okay, so you know how the game works. So today we're going to be talking to a phenomenal company, one that we've invested in recently in the last couple of months, FlexPay. And we're going to talk to you about how they are impacting in the entire finance sector. So really, really exciting stuff. As always, we're going to bring you from the genesis of the idea all the way through to the implementation idea, the execution idea, the conversion metrics of the idea, all the way through to where that is right now. So again, really exciting. Richard, thank you for joining us, man. It's late. I know we're bringing you in at a time when everybody is asleep. So thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Brian, for having me, and also for that warm introduction. I'm looking forward to sharing more about FlexPay.
Of course, I'm a proud investor. Proud, 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 proud. So let's bring us back to the very beginning when it started. Talk to us about what was so broken in the system that you felt it was an absolute imperative to get it fixed. And then we're going to go to the execution of that a little bit later on.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So FlexPay story begins when I was a university student. That is back in 2015, 2016. I was working at university had started an incubation center where they were helping other students with brilliant idea to package that into businesses. So I applied with a different idea, and that's how even I met my co-founder. So as I was working on that idea. FlexPay idea came in. So how it came in is that my background is in fine art and product design. That's what I did in university, and that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. So I wanted to upgrade my computer. So that's how it started. I wanted to upgrade my computer, laptop, but I didn't have enough cash to buy it outright, and I also couldn't qualify to buy it for the credit models that were there in the market. So a friend of mine introduced me to a store, a local store, that was offering a very interesting concept whereby if you do not have enough, you don't have enough cash to buy a product outright, uh, they they give you could place a deposit on the item you want, and then you are given a period of time. For mine was 3 months, and then you make other incremental payments, and when you are done, you take the product home. That's what I did, and finally I attained my dream, which was to get my laptop. But now the problem was it was very hectic for me because every time it was all manual. Every time I needed to make an incremental payment, I had to walk all the way from the university, walk to the store, make the payment, get a receipt. This is what you have paid so far. This is the balance. This is the time due. That's what I had to go through. I don't even have a way of tracking payments. I had to put it on somewhere, right? This is what I've paid for far, and then we can reconcile with the retailer, with the store. So this was a very amazing concept for me because it allowed me to attain that, and I learned that most of the customers were using that model in that particular store. Not all the store that were offering that. It was that particular store. So my thinking was, how can we automate this and scale it so that we can, help people like me to afford stuff. Yeah. So that's how the idea came in. I went back. I talked to my friend. At that time, he was my friend. He had his own startup, and then we started now, bringing in ideas on how can we start automating this and scale to other retailers. Because my question was, why are the big retailers not offering this kind of concept?
So you were like before the time of Klarna or the large buy now, pay later organizations that came out. And it's funny, like this little shop in the middle of nowhere, like we look at the innovation of the largest companies in the world that raise a lot of money, and we're like, you're Uber and Uber have done this. But actually, in reality, there was probably a guy who lent his car to someone else, and that person had like four people in the local community, and they called him by phone to come out, and they gave him like $5 or $10 each time. And that was the original Uber. The only thing that Uber did was just systemized it on a scale that it could expand. And so
Sure.
you recognized that this was going to be something huge, that buy now, pay later was going to be the future of the world, but it needed to be systemized in a way that everybody could find out about it, get access to it, and be able to execute straight away. Okay, makes sense. Great idea. Eureka moment. How did you then turn that into what became you?
Yeah, so what we did is actually now I started building the team. We make the first system or platform, and then we went to the same store because I had talked to the manager of the same store, and he said, "Hey, if you can automate this, why not? We can do a pilot." So we went with our first version of prototype. We did a 6 months pilot with the same store, and then we did research whether other retailers or other big retailers could use the same. And what we discovered is the macro problem that we are solving is that low disposable incomes limit the average African consumers from accessing or purchasing what they want in outrightly or upfront. So that is the macro problem. Additionally, people were being or consumers were being pushed towards the buy now pay later, which is a credit-driven model, which we know is expensive, predatory, and inaccessible. People like me could not access because 60% over 60% of Africans are considered to be underbanked or unbanked, meaning accessing credit it's hard for them. So that is the problem that we realize. This is the problem. This is the reason why people were using that concept even the time that it was manual. So realizing this is the potential, how can we change that? How can we change that and offer savings? A part becomes a part of the purchasing. So the way you have Mastercard, credit card, buy now pay later, how can we now empower merchants and to embed savings, merchant savings part of the buying options, and that's our solution. So FlexPay is actually empowering merchants to offer savings accounts pegged to a merchant for a product or for a particular product, so that customers can afford merchants offering that being products, buying products or goods and services. So now, after now doing that pilot, our go to market strategy was, now because we have automated for this one retailer, how can we go top bottom? We target the big boys, the big retailers with this distribution, with trust,
Nice.
with traffic, and take advantage of that. So that's what we did. And luckily enough, in 2017, now just after now finalizing with the pilot, we managed to lock in one of the actually the biggest by then retailer chain in Africa, in Kenya or in East Africa, called Tuskys. They had 83 branches across the country, and someone extending even to a neighboring country called Uganda. So we signed a deal and we did a pilot for 3 months, and then we scaled to all the stores. So that was in 2017. We also got because of that we got
Let me stop you there. So you scaled to all their stores. What was it that they were getting from that first store that made them want to scale it to all of the stores? Because it's a big moment. Like
yeah.
the POCs are one thing, right? Most people will do a POC, sometimes really small and insignificant. Another thing is that decision to move and go all the way. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, actually, we started with a pilot because we are given three stores, and then we are given a target. If we hit that target within a month, and then so the person we pitched to, we pitched to head of product at Taskis at that store. And then he said, hey, I've been hearing pitches from young guys, and then I take them to the CEO, and then they flop. They don't succeed. So I'm not going to take you to the CEO. I'm not going to sign in a contract, but I'll give you 3 stores. Don't shout. Don't do branding. If you hit this, and then I will now take you to the CEO, and then you can do a proper. That's how we started.
Wow.
So we are given 3 store, and then right at that time we were only 5. So we used to go to the stores and talk to customers and market the product ourselves.
Nice.
And then within 14 days, that is 2 weeks, we had already hit the targets. So one morning, Monday morning, I was called by the CEO. I told, hey, you guys, you are doing fantastic job. Come and tell us what you're doing. So we went to that boardroom meeting. We pitched again what we are doing, and then we now presented the value proposition to the retailer, of which was, we are turning your foot traffic to actual customers. Yeah, because what we are doing is that you, the retailer, you use huge budgets on Facebook, on Google to try to retarget customers, because you don't have exposure of what people are saving for. Yeah. So we are giving you exposure for what people are saving for, so that you can tap that. So think of FlexPay being, using FlexPay as an upper funnel marketing tool. Yeah. So instead of now using huge budgets trying to target people elsewhere, now you can literally turn your customer, the walk-in people who are not, able, or you have not yet made that decision of buying. You can now try to get them way earlier, and then they become. You create that long relationship. Yeah,
it's like you're inventing finance as a service.
Yeah.
Right, where it actually becomes a marketing service, which is phenomenal, because it's normally absolutely right there in the cost center or in an incremental revenue center, but it's never finance as a service. And using it for top of the funnel sales, so you know when to go after people for what they're saving for, is genius.
Yeah, and we know 90% of customers never even reach the checkout page. So FlexPay now is to target these customers through their, before they decide to buy, they can save, literally save with a retailer and make. And what we realize is that the moment a customer book a product, they have seen it, they have reserved it, and then they have done maybe a small commitment fee. It changes now from saving money in the bank to buy a laptop, and seeing the laptop and buying. So psychologically, customers already own the product. They're just making payments to take it home. That's what we realized, the power of FlexPay.
Very good. And then I'm guessing you're finding more and more returning customers, right? Because they can get more and more things that they want to get.
Yeah.
And,
actually,
please go on.
Okay, I was just wanted to mention that 20% of customers reserve another product at checkout. So when they are checking out, they already reserve another product.
Incredible. And then, so how many stores? Talk to me about the growth since you started year by year to where you are today, and maybe some of the significant moments during that growth as well.
Yeah, currently we have 400 plus stores across the country. So what happened is that we signed exclusive deal with this big retailer, that is 2018, for 2 years, which was a blessing and a curse at the same time. A blessing because we learned a lot, and we wanted to create our product so that it can be scalable, and we knew that this is a big merchant. This is for us this was a big merchant. A curse is because in 2020 the merchant went bankrupt because of COVID. So 2021 was a rebuilding year, and we have managed to have now 400 stores. All the other competitors that we were not allowed to
Incredible.
to bring on board. So
And it's a wonderful thing to happen for investors who are out there to work with a startup that has gone through the phase of, first of all, going in with a large organization, which theoretically is the best possible thing that can happen. But then
Yeah.
having already gone through the painful process of being decimated because that retailer then goes and then being able to rebuild, what it shows is the grit of the founders that are behind it, that they can deal with a catastrophe because everybody believes the large boys and girls are not going to fail, right? They're the safest option that you can go after. But phenomenally well done. And then now, so with these extra stores that you have in place, talk to us about your revenue this year. I feel like 2022 is kind of your coming out year, right? Everything
Yep.
before this was about trying with the stores, expanding, going to larger stores, checking out smaller stores, trying multiple products, seeing how much you can sell. And then it's like, we know this now. It's 2022. COVID is kind of over. Stores are totally open. People are ready to go out and buy again. We're ready. And actually, in a funny way, even if there is a recession or a small recession over there, it'll work better for you. So talk to me, 2022, the numbers in 2022, either quarter by quarter or half year by half year. Just give us a feel as to where you are right now in a monthly revenue. And then we're going to talk about 2023 and then how we're going to build in 2023.
Sure. So 2020 we did 5.4 million US dollars. That is in GMV and
Mhm.
290K revenue. So we are growing by 2x this year. We already at 7.8 million US dollars by through October, and we are on our way of hitting 10 million US dollars in GMV and 500K in revenue.
So in 2023, where do you think you're going to be?
In 2023, we are going the same. We are growing in 2x. So in 2023, we are going to hit 1 million in revenue.
1 million in revenue. And what can we
Yes.
do to lift that up to 1.4, 1.5 million? Like, what do you need? Because it seems to me you have the model to be able to explosively grow. Now, look, everybody's going to be happy with one times. One times is great. Or sorry, two times, right? Which is really one plus the additional one on top, right? And then everybody's going to be happy with that. That actually is technically, and let me just give a little bit of help. And for investors who know, just humor me. If you don't know, then it's okay. Any company that's growing between 1 and 200% every year for a 5-year period is going to be a unicorn. That's just the reality, right? Starting from 30K a month. And here's how it works. Let's say year one, you grow at 200%. You go from 30K a month to 90K a month. Let's say in year two, you then get yourself, or in year three, let's say year two, starting from the first one, right? So year two, you go from 90K a month. Let's say you just grow by 100% in 90K a month. That brings you to 180K a month. Let's say the next year, you grow at 200% on top of 180K. That brings you 180 plus 180 plus 180 is 540. Now you're at 540K a month. Let's say the next year you just grow at 100%. That brings you to $1,080 a month. And we're only on year 4, year 5, right? This is how you get to become a unicorn, because now you're there. And here's the wonderful thing about venture backable companies is that you're given the fuel to get there as long as you have the scalable model, right? So
Sure.
point one, you do 100%, that would be an awesome year. I'll be really happy. You're on track to be a unicorn based on those numbers that I just said there. Happy days, right? Point number two, I want to help push you to the extremes. So for us to get to higher amounts, does that involve raising more money? Does it involve bringing on more teams? What do we need to do?
Yeah, both. So what we are concentrating on currently is retention. Retention in terms of bringing more stores and even expanding to more verticals. We've recently signed contracts with Kenya Airways, that is tour and travel.
Wow.
So next year would be, if you want to take your family for holiday, we'll be saving with KQ. KQ have partnered with hotels, and then hotels are offering vacational holiday packages. So people will be accessing that. So we are expanding to more verticals. That is tour and travel. We want to go into school fees payments because that's still paying for parents to pay school fees, rent payments, insurance payments. Those are the verticals that are in the pipeline. So that's what we want FlexPay to become, is instead of a one-off, you come, you buy a TV, and then you come after 6 months, you buy another item. We want our FlexPay to be like a bank account, a current. So when you have FlexPay, you can save for all the things that you do. So what we are doing is we are aligning savings to customers' behavior. Just that, like the way, the last 40 years, there have been a lot of innovation around credit, but nothing on savings. So we want to align savings with that. So one, we'll need to have the team, of course, and then to be able to scale vertically and of course regionally. So we've already have incorporated in Nigeria and Uganda as well. We have country managers in those two countries. We have partners that we've identified that are ready. So what we need is funding. We are currently raising 1.5 million seed round. We have 425K rebated. Yeah, that's how far we are the raise. So both
Nice.
raising and bringing the people that will take this to the next level.
Nice. So it's just core focus and getting some of that money in the bank, getting it in from the investors. And
Sure.
from an investment perspective, look, this is a kind of a no-brainer in my mind because you have a team who've executed, they can stay the full distance. You know that they're actually just built their revenue up nicely this year. 2022 has been a great year. And then all we got to do is make sure that we follow the economy. And like I said, if the economy goes bad, people are still going to need to save more. As you're talking, it's funny, Richard, I'm thinking, wow, this could be used for so many other things. Maybe buying a house is not the easiest thing, but maybe it's not impossible either. And definitely saving for financial services, saving so that we can invest money in stocks and shares, saving so that we can invest money in our future, saving so that we can get our kids into a nice school. Like, why not? Why can't it go across the whole board? Isn't this a better way to plan out how we live our lives rather than living continually in debt for our whole lives?
Sure.
Especially as you can turn into a financial institution and possibly even invest some of that money or even lend some of that money out to other people in the interim period as well. I think, look, for me, I love a couple of things. I love Africa. I love fintech in Africa. And I love when proper financial planning is trained to people at the appropriate age, right? As opposed to, the get rich schemes are for people to spend money as quickly as they can. So it's okay. Don't worry about tomorrow. Live for the today. No, worry about tomorrow. Make sure that you're prepared for everything. And so you have a great educational message for everybody. And shops, it's just a very obvious message. You need this washing machine. Okay, start going for it right now. This is how you do it. But actually, for the more service-based things, why not?
Sure.
Holidays, why not? Education, why not? Everything, why not?
Sure. There's huge potential in saving, and discovered potential in saving. Yeah, and we are going for it, and we are the right team to do the job.
So you need to get a little bit of money in, and we're going to be good to go. So, okay, investors in this current round, we got $425,000. We're going to fill in the other 1.5, so like $1,075,000, and then we're good to go. We've already put money in, like we said, and we're going to have you out on our demo days next week. For me, look, you guys are great. You know what you're doing. You got the team well. Actually, one thing I do want to do before I go into the final piece, which is, and because I think we've covered like how you expand this beyond, with the different verticals, even some of the ones that I've mentioned there's like a ton of potential on what you can do and how you can build. And everybody's going to want it, by the way. If you can take schools of kids, take a kindergarten school, and let's say, okay, you say to your kid, you know what, I'm going to actually put aside $10 a month or $20 a month so you can go to a school which is right next door here, which is a little bit better, but we're going to start working for it right now. And you can put that money either into the coffers of the school straight away, in which case they will be paying you for that, or you invest it yourselves separately with a side slush fund that you can give yourself. So we've kind of looked at the revenue model going forward. It can go everywhere. All we have to do is make you a trusted name throughout Africa. Everybody trusts you to get them the things they love getting. And I even think with like social media campaigns and everything that we can build around that is huge. Imagine this, right? Imagine 1,000 videos all online on social. Each one of the videos is somebody who's a customer of yours who is doing an unboxing, who's talking about this incredible unboxing, but we're giving them a little gift for doing that, right? Something to make sure that they're continually posting. So there is nothing but the happiness of gifts delivered for everyone who's involved with FlexPay. So I love all of that kind of stuff. Now, we're going to dig in a moment. We're going to look at where does this go in the future? I want you to look in 10 years and I want you to tell me what it looks like. But before we go there, talk to me a little bit about the competition so I get a feel for the competition and we can kind of see where we stand with that. Who else is there? Anyone we need to be afraid of? How are we going to crush everybody going forward? Give us everything.
Sure. So when it comes to competition, here in Kenya, we don't have someone who is offering directly what we're offering. We have few buy now, pay later companies that are in the same space offering credit. And then in South Africa, we have a company called Layup. It's actually, we were in the same Texas Accelerator in 2017. They were doing something different and then started doing what you are doing. And then in the United States, there's a company called Accru Savings. They started last year. They raised 4 million in seed round in November last year, and then in January this year they raised 25 million. So Accru Savings are doing the same. And then in India, I have seen two other companies started last year as well.
How do we beat them? All of them.
So it's just onboarding merchants and creating trust with the merchants, and that's what you are doing. And then being ahead of everyone.
Okay. So as far as actual specific product offerings and brand, I'm looking at them, I'm looking at you. What makes you special?
So what makes us special is what we do. We negotiate discounts with the merchants that we partner with. So our customers earn cash rewards. We give cash rewards to our customers. So
Okay.
that's what, because and
And
how
no,
we
and
do it.
they don't do that.
No, they don't do it.
There you go. That's huge. So when
Yeah.
I say like how are we going to win? You say to me, we're going to win, Brian, because we've decided that what customer wants are value. What they believe is that what customers are looking for is a way to finance or to be able to pay for things later. That's not what they want. They want the best value on every single level. So if we worked for additional discounts and rewards to make sure they get it, we got to tell the whole world that, Richard. Everybody's got to know that's got to be our brand. We're the brand that care for you. And that's how we build this thing out. And so we're going to go hard at this. We're going to separate ourselves out. You're going to be at our demo day next week. Okay. On the basis of how I've mentioned a few additional potential sectors we can go after, and on the basis of what separates us entirely from anybody else in the business, I want you to imagine that you're not in a room, but there are two other people in the room and they are talking to each other, and they're talking to each other about FlexPay, and they're saying, okay, let me tell you why I love this company. It's 10 years in the future. And they are speaking factually for what you represent then. What are they going to say?
Yeah. So in 10 years times, we want to be the most preferred neobank for Africa, for the underserved markets, offering sustainable financial solution. Because what we are doing currently is we are using the merchants network for customer acquisition. When people comes to our platform, we don't want them to leave. And then we can now define other products, in line with what we are doing, that we can offer to the customers. So we want to become the most preferred neobank for Africa.
I love it. No better ambition. That's it. Top of the pile. Share with everybody your email address so everybody can reach out to you afterwards as well.
Okay.
Let's have that. What's the email address?
rmachomba, that is RMACHOMBA at flexpay.co.ke.
Easy peasy. And anybody can always contact me at brian@expertdojo.com. Look, as always, do your own diligence, do your own research, dig into the company, but more importantly, look at things from a common sense perspective and say, look, is what they're doing something that we believe should grow? I think most people would agree, yes, we do believe it should grow. Do we believe the founders have the ability to come through? I think they've proven that already. Do we believe they can break through to the next level, which is to get up to $250,000, $300,000 a month? Yes, they're on track for that within the next 16 to 18 months. And do we believe that that there's enough juice in this to turn into a unicorn? And obviously we at Expert Dojo do. Richard, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. I appreciate you letting us invest in you. And we're going to keep on pushing this puppy all the way down the hill until we can get ourselves to that lovely unicorn status.
Thank you, Brian, for having me.